Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Telecast TV. I'm Mira Kwangala. The Senate rejects electronic transmission of result from the ward. Is this a tool for rigging election 2027 from the APC? Because if the electronic transmission of result is not done, then manual collation will be done, which will intend bring out rigging and falsification of numbers for the preferred candidate, which is the APC, the ruling party, in order for them to remain in power for long. What is your take or advice for those presidential candidates from different parties that are contesting with the President Tinubu?
Hello, great people. The 2027 presidential election have just ended. Before it even starts at all, as the Nigerian Senate, under the leadership of Godswill Akpabio, reject electronic transmission of results. If you are hoping for a free, fair, and credible election in 2027, you may need to have a rethink, as the Nigerian Senate have officially rejected anything that relates to electronic transmission of results for the 2027 presidential election. One of the things that discredit the 2023 presidential election is the lack of electronic transmission of results. One would have thought that the leadership of the Senate under Akpabio would have thought otherwise and approved that electronic transmission of results should be in the Nigerian law. But the Senate sat down, they look at the law clause by clause, which I'll be reviewing for you in a moment, and they decide that, well, Nigeria as at today does not need electronic transmission of result. What is electronic transmission of result? It is a way of transmitting election result electronically. Let me give you an example. As you say, send message for your WhatsApp. For instance, now the way you send message on your WhatsApp, now if there is an election, there will be a portal that you need to go there. You need to input the result that, okay, PDP scores this, APC scores this, Labour Party scores this. Then you now take a picture of that particular result. Then you upload it to that portal, just as you operate your WhatsApp. As your WhatsApp, as you know, they chop data. That is how the electronic transmission doesn't chop doesn't exhaust rather your data as well. And as it is, the electronic transmission of result is even so easy that as you upload something for your WhatsApp, say even if network no dey, later if you reach where network dey, the thing will deliver by itself. The electronic transmission of result is not a complex thing. Anywhere where they use WhatsApp for Nigeria, any community, any village, then electronic transmission is possible. So tell me, which community in Nigeria do you have somebody that doesn't use WhatsApp? I'm just using it to simplify it for some of you that thinks that, oh, electronic transmission is something unachievable. So it is not unachievable, but the Nigerian senators, they sat down. Apparently, you no go expect, say, make thief, making block the way when they use steal, because definitely election is what puts them in power. The power gives them access to the resources of Nigerians, and the resources of Nigerians can be taken without little or no scrutiny. So I am not surprised, but then it speaks to the lack of credibility or what to expect in the 2027 presidential election. Before I read the clause to you, you will recall that a lot of manipulation takes place between the polling unit and them taking the results to the collation center. And in this age and time, person go they carry result from a polling unit, they carry and go collation center at the local government and at the state level. In this age and time where you can just upload the result, and you will recall that any election that INEC approve the electronic transmission of result, those elections, they're credible past other election. But it is what it is. In 2027, no electronic transmission of result unless INEC decides otherwise. That is the decision of the Nigerian Senate. And do you want to hear the truth? The INEC cannot decide otherwise, because deciding otherwise will be against the interest of the ruling party. And don't forget the judgment of the 2023 election at the Supreme Court that says that, well, using electronic transmission is not mandatory, that that doesn't discredit the election. So that means that if you don't input it into the law to make it mandatory, even if INEC says yes, you can use electronic transmission, if they put it in the election guideline, just as they did in 2023, just to please you people, then on election day, or maybe on the eve of the election, they can say it is no longer mandatory. But if it is in the law, you have no choice than to work according to the law. So, my dear people, I look forward to reading from you. What do you think about the Nigerian Senate and the conduct of Godswill Akpabio? Now, let me read something to you, something that I found interesting, that will give you more insight about what the Nigerian Senate just did. Which is this? It says that during plenary session, I think this is from one of the insiders there, it says, during plenary session, has been reported by the media, during plenary session, senators considered the bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act number 13, 2022, and enact the Electoral Act 2025. A key proposed clause, that's the new clause 60, sub 5, that would have required presiding officers to electronically transmit polling unit results in real time, just like your WhatsApp message that I explained to you. That's why I explained to you at the beginning, so that you know that this thing is not rocket science. Now it says that with electronic transmit polling unit results in real time to INEC's IREF portal after completing Form EC8A was rejected. You heard me right, was rejected. The Senate retained the 2022 framework, which mandates manual completion, signing, stamping, and distribution of results to party agents and security personnel, with results announced at polling units and transferred, take note of that, in a manner as prescribed by the commission. Something that was done in 20. You see, oh, Nigeria is not ready. Let us be sincere with ourselves. If you think Nigeria is ready, you are just deceiving yourself. Nigeria is not ready, you know, and that makes me, that brings to my memory the words of Omoyele Sowore. No wonder Sowore is demanding for a resolution. Nigeria is not ready, because what happened in 2023, that the election was eventually determined by the tribunal all the way to the Supreme Court, is what is happening here again. So why can you be failing and you are doing what made you to fail? You are doing it again. Why not try a new thing? Haven't failed before. You failed exam before. You use one strategy. That strategy make you fail that exam. You won't rewrite that exam again, and you still adopt that same strategy, and you are still going to face like almost the same question, because it is the same people, the same culture, the same climate, prone to political violence, prone to vote buying. So you would think that definitely the lawmakers would want to at least make Nigerians to try something new. See, oh God, you see, again, Nigeria is not ready. Why do I say so? What is APC afraid of? What are they afraid of? You already have 30 states. You are controlling 30 states out of 36. So what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of if you are controlling 30 states? 30, and you are still afraid of election. What kind of country are we? And that is why we need to determine, is the Nigerian Senate there to represent Nigeria people, or they are there to represent themselves? Because I don't want to believe that the constituencies of the senators sitting in the National Assembly, I don't want to believe that they are the ones that say, oh, go and vote, we don't want electronic transmission of results. Why are we always against good thing in Nigeria? Anything that can bring progress, anything that can bring development, why are we always against it? And at the end of the day, these are some of the things that brings under development anyway, because if you are not having recourse to the people, if you don't win election free and fair through the mandate of the people, definitely when you get there, you know, go send the people. You will protect the interest that brought you to power, the godfatherism, the violence, the political talks, the vote buying. You will protect that particular, avenue that brought you to power. To power, and that's why you see that politicians will keep on stealing more and more, just so that they can have the resources to continue to buy votes, and they will keep you impoverished. What kind of country are we running? It is sad, it is shameful, it is disgraceful, it is appalling that the Nigerian Senate will fail to pass such a crucial thing that would have led to the development of our electoral process. The Senate that quickly changed, the Nigerian national anthem, that feels that, oh, arise, O compatriots, they're good for Nigerians. Now they feel that electronic transmission of result is not good for Nigeria. What are we doing, my dear people? What kind of country are we running? And I believe that these politicians are not careful about their place in history, because look at this. It says that in a manner as prescribed by INEC, without mandating electronic transmission. Senators also reject clause 47, which sought to allow electronically generated voter identification, such as downloadable voters card with QR codes for accreditation. The Senate do well for that one. They said that, oh, you have to have a PVC, which is a permanent voters card. They didn't create a room for you to download your something electronically with barcode, then you can use it to vote. No, they said what you can use is your permanent voters card that is issued to you by INEC. That one, I agree with the Senate on that there must be some form of security on that permanent voters card, that you cannot provide adulterated one. But if you just allow people to download online by themselves, definitely it can be prone to adulteration, and that the Senate did well in that regard. But no be that one be the cocoa. The cocoa is the electronic transmission of results. That would have given us a clear winner and a clear loser in the 2027 presidential election. You lose, say you lose. You win, say you win. By 12 o'clock, 12 p.m., person will lose don't know. Person will win don't know. In fact, that electronic transmission of result would have allowed Nigerians to be calculating it themselves. It could be sweet now. If you win, continue. If you lose, go back to your house. It would have been interesting. But the Nigerian Senate, apparently it is what it is. And it is very, very disappointing, I must say. I look forward to reading from you in the comment section. What do you think about the conduct of your senators? Are you among the people that told them that, we don't want electronic transmission of result, because the senators are naturally supposed to act based on your interest? They are there to represent you, not to represent themselves. In all of this, what I can just say is that, sincerely, let's just do appointment. Don't let us waste our time. Don't let us waste money. If you do the 2027 election, who go die, go die. May God spare our life. May God not kill us. People that will die during the electioneering process will die. It is, it is a culture of the Nigerian election. Then we would have spent billions of naira, if not up to trillion, to campaign, in fact, trillions of naira, because if you are to look at the presidential campaign, governorship campaign, senatorial campaign, House of Rep campaign, House of Assembly campaign, and you are now to look at the money that will be given to INEC to conduct the election. Why are we wasting our time to conduct an election that we know that it will not be free, fair, and credible, because there's no electronic transmission of results? Why don't we save that money? Why don't we cuckoo appoint people? Why are we wasting our time, energy, and resources? Because right now, I can tell you that apparently rigging has been sealed and perfected. Rigging has been sealed and perfected because a lot of things will happen from the polling unit to where the results will be delivered. And let us look at something. Can a government that, has performed below average, can they amend the Electoral Act? Can they? Let us be sincere with ourselves. People like Jonathan are not many. It is only Jonathan that will use his hand to sign something that will make him lose election. Even Buhari declined to sign. Buhari declined to sign. So what do you say? Even if the National Assembly had passed it, I'm not sure Bola Ahmed Tinubu will sign it. That's another thing. And if Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't sign it, that's the end of it, as it happened during the Muhammadu Buhari era. But in all of this, is there a solution? Perhaps, maybe if Nigerians decide to protest, and the protest seems to be untamed, and it goes on and on and on and on, then maybe, just maybe, the National Assembly can have a rethink. Maybe if international pressure comes in, Well, maybe the National Assembly and the presidency can have a rethink. But if Nigerians, if they remain docile the way they used to remain, definitely this will go on. 2027 election will come. A lot of time and energy and resources will be wasted. And at the end of the day, the result will not be free, fair, and credible as usual. And then after that, don't expect development, and your struggle, your poverty, your pain, your agony, unfortunately, continues. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Joshua Plug.